A new report by the World Meteorological Organization shows that there is an 80% chance that global temperatures will break at least one annual heat record in the next 5 years, increasing the risk of extreme droughts, floods, and forest fires.
앞으로 5년 중 적어도 한 해는 역대 연간 최고 기온 기록을 넘어설 가능성이 80%이며 이에 따라 극심한 가뭄과 홍수 및 산불의 위험도 높아질 것이라는 세계기상기구 WMO의 보고서가 나왔습니다.
Yeah, and to add to that, according to the WMO, by 2030, the world could experience a year that's 2 degrees hotter than the pre-industrial era, which I imagine is the late 19th century. So scientists are saying that this is, quote, shocking. Of course, we know that the last 10 years have been the hottest on record, and more data continues to show that the world is getting hotter. There's an 86% likelihood that 1.5 degrees would be passed in over the next 5 years, and that's up from 40% just 5 years ago. So that 1.5 degrees is sort of the threshold.
Yeah, the Paris Agreement, I think.
The Paris
sets
Climate
that bar,
Accords, right, that scientists have set.
Right. Oh dear. Let's have a look at the expression, at least something.
Right. So what scientists are saying is that the record will be broken, at least one record will be broken. So it could be 1, it could be 2. So it means the minimum amount, right?
최소한. 네, 최소한. I think in this studio there are at least 3 microphones.
Yes.
Could be more.
Right.
I might be missing some.
Right. Health experts will say walk at least 10,000 steps a day, for example.
Exactly.
Right?
And what's the opposite of at least?
At least,
Something.
you mean as a maximum or a ceiling? At most, you would say, yeah.
At most, or depending on what you're talking about, you could say there's a maximum of something. So, in terms of those microphones, once again, I might say, I think there's a maximum of 5 microphones in the studio.
At most, you would say.
At most, yeah. And also steps as well. You know, you don't want to overdo it, especially if you're not that physically fit.
At least also has a different meaning, sort of different meaning, as a consolation for something. So, I ran in a marathon. I didn't win. At least I got a medal.
That's a good one, yeah.
So it doesn't mean at a minimum you got a medal, but as a sort of consolation prize, you got something else for it.
I took part in the festival. I didn't get to meet the singer, but at least I had fun.
You had a good time. Very good.
적어도 최소한 적어도 즐겼으니 됐지 뭐 할 때 그 적어도 at least something 이렇게도 씁니다. And the next one is increasing the risk of.
Yeah, no explanation here really needed. It means the chance or probability of something, usually negative, is going up. Something unpleasant or undesirable.
맞아요. 자, 무언가의 위험을 높인다. Increase the risk of something. 자, 극심한 가뭄이 extreme droughts가 되겠죠. Floods and forest fires 언급도 있었습니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A new report by the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, shows that there is an 80% chance that global temperatures will break at least one annual heat record in the next 5 years, increasing the risk of extreme droughts, floods, and forest fires. Here's our next headline.
A new study shows that young children are more likely to eat the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables if their fathers had healthier diets during their teenage years.
아버지가 청소년기에 건강한 식습관을 유지했을 경우 그 자녀도 과일과 채소를 권장량 이상 섭취하는 비율이 유의미하게 높다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, so basically fathers who ate healthier when they were teenagers are more likely to encourage these sort of positive food habits when they become parents as well. And if you look at the data, men whose diet quality had improved during adolescence were 90% more likely to model that healthy eating when they became fathers, and 60% more likely to monitor healthy eating in their children. So basically saying that it's hereditary in a way, in terms of passing these sort of good habits on to their offspring.
But what's really interesting is that a lot of the time people associate mothers with having a lot more of an impact on children because they spend more time with them, they cook for them, but it's been revealed that fathers actually have this really big influence on how healthy their children will be eating.
Yeah, so in my non-scientific way of interpreting sort of this data goes to show that maybe when fathers participate in child rearing a little bit more actively, it passes on good habits as opposed to if that duty is passed on to just the mother.
Also, I think, just giving out an opinion, the father might say to the mother, how about we have some strawberries today or, apples and, things like that based on his childhood and the diet he was used to.
Right.
Yeah.
Because children watch and they mimic what parents do. So if the father is coming home every night and eating cup noodles or cup ramen every night, the children will be like, hey, why is daddy eating that? And why do we have to eat celery and carrots?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we say the children are more likely to have a healthier diet, what are we saying?
Yeah, so again, that means there's a higher probability or chance of something happening. Even if it's 51% chance, it's more likely to happen. If something's most likely to happen, that means there's a greater sort of probability or chance.
맞습니다. 자, 뭐뭐 할 확률이 높을 때는 something is more likely to happen. 그리고 이럴 확률이 가장 높다. Something is most likely to happen. 자, 다음으로 이제 10대 시절이라는 뜻으로 teenage years가 나왔는데요.
It's that period of development, right?
Yeah.
As a teenager, between 13 and 19. That's when there's a lot of sort of significant physical, emotional, social changes to these young individuals before adulthood.
Exactly. Teenage years가 그 teen이라는 단어가 들어간 나이들 13세에서 19세가 13, 14에서 19까지가 있죠. 그래서 13세에서 19세를 말합니다. 영어에서는. 근데 우리말로는 그냥 이제 조금 더 넓게 봐서 그냥 10대 이렇게 해석을 하죠.
Right. It's your adolescence.
Right.
Exactly. During that prime time. 청소년? Would be around
청소년기
there?
그렇죠. 왜냐하면 사실 이제 13세에서 19세를 우리 학령기로 생각하면 중고등학생 때예요.
Right.
그렇죠. 그 청소년기를 얘기하고 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A new study shows that young children are more likely to eat the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables if their fathers had healthier diets during their teenage years. Here's our final headline.
An Australian woman has broken the world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, completing 7,079 reps and nearly doubling the previous record.
호주의 한 여성이 24시간 동안 7,079개의 턱걸이에 성공해 이 부문 기존 기록을 거의 2배 가까이 올려놓으며 기네스 기록을 경신했습니다.
Yeah, so Olivia Vinson, she smashed the previous record. And these pull-ups were not consecutive, so it doesn't mean she was hanging on the bar for the entire 24 hours.
Okay, so how did it work?
So she can take a break in between.
Right.
But she did it over a period or a span of 24 hours. 7,079. That's unbelievable. She tried doing this earlier. She actually did this in March. But she tried to do it earlier back in September of last year, but she injured herself, so she had to recover for a little bit. But it's something that her husband had actually encouraged her to do. And so after months of hard work and a 12-hour practice run, it was time to tackle that record. Wow. And she obliterated it, right?
Oh my gosh. The previous record, as you said, was, just about half. So I don't know how Olivia Vinson did it, but she's obviously some sort of superwoman.
Yeah. So this got me thinking, so this is the female record, the women's record.
Oh, okay.
The men's record is more than 10,000. And based on my research, there's sort of conflicting reports. But men can do more than 10,000, 11,000. But the pull-up is a very difficult sort of exercise. It works, it works your lats, sort of your back, your shoulders, your biceps, all that. I can be honest, I'm not very good at pull-ups.
How many can you do in a minute?
In a minute? You can give me all the time in the world. I cannot do a strict pull-up more than 2, probably. So.
Similar then, I guess.
Yeah.
So a pull-up is 턱걸이, and then a push-up is
팔굽혀펴기.
팔굽혀펴기.
Yeah.
네, 그렇죠.
Yeah, and I also want to distinguish a pull-up and a chin-up are very different because a
Okay.
pull-up is when your grip is sort of your palms are facing forward.
Yes.
A chin-up is when it's backward. So that actually works different parts of your body. The pull-up works more of your back,
Right.
but the chin-up is more when your arms are pronated,
I
as
didn't
they
know that.
say.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
works more of your biceps. So it's very different.
그렇군요. 이게 팔의 방향에 따라서
Yes.
예, 폴업가 우리가 보통 말하는 턱걸이고요. 그다음에 이제 반대로 손등이 바깥을 향해 이렇게 있으면은 chin up.
Yeah.
이렇게 부르는군요.
You know, I always thought it was interesting. Here in Korea, I remember women or girls would do 오래매 달리기, and
그랬던
they
것
would
같아요.
hang on the bar for a very long time,
Yeah.
usually in the chin up sort of grip,
yeah,
with their
yeah.
palms facing inward. But I probably could not do that either. So.
None of it is
Yes.
easy. 그래요. 그래서 24시간 동안 연속적으로 7,079개의 턱걸이에 성공했습니다. 물론 이 연속적이라는 게 멈추지 않고 했다는 건 아니고요. 중간중간은 조금의 텀은 있을 수도 있었으나 그래도 뭐 낮잠을 자러 갔다 온다든지 이런 건 안 되는 거죠. 그 자리에서 이제 계속 했다는 거죠.
Yeah, and they were strict pull-ups because you can use sort of other tactics. If you've ever done CrossFit before, there's a skill called kipping. I think 배치기 in Korean,
okay.
where you can kind of swing your arms and your shoulders to kind of use that momentum to pull yourself up. But these were strict pull-ups, so
You couldn't do that.
they're even harder. And pull-up, again, you can spell it without a hyphen and with a hyphen. Both are accepted. Same
Okay.
with sit-ups. Sit-ups, 윗몸 일으키기 can also be with a hyphen and without a hyphen.
알겠습니다. 자, 턱걸이 pull-up 봤고요. 그 다음에 rep. I hear this a lot when people talk about going to the gym.
Yes.
What is it?
So when you're doing if you're doing exercises, you can do 3 sets of 10 reps, for example. So each set will contain 10 repetitions.
Right.
So you're repeating it. That's it's short for repetition, right? A rep. But rep could be shortened for other things too, like
Yeah.
a representative,
Right.
right? Like a sales rep. And also reputation. If you have a bad rep, that means you have a bad reputation as well.
That's right. 그래요. 뭐 대변인, 대리 뭐 이런 의미도 있을 수 있지만 그러니까 대리인 아니면은 아까 얘기했던 뭐가 있었죠? representative,
Yep.
대표하는 뭐 이런 의미도 있을 수 있겠지만 그거 말고 운동에서 말하는 REP, rep는요. repetition의 줄임 표현으로 한 이제 특정 동작이라고 보시면 돼요. 그거를 이제 몇 세트를 하느냐 이렇게 표현을 하더라고요.
So 몇 세트 몇 회 you would normally say, right?
그래요?
So 3세트 10회 you can do,
그럼
for
그
example.
회에 해당되는 게 래프군요.
Exactly.
아하, 그래요. 저는 굉장히 익숙하지 않은 표현입니다.
We should do some push-ups after the show. Sue.
No, please. 알겠습니다. 그래서 여기서 뭐라고 얘기를 했냐면은 7,079 reps.
Yes.
턱걸이를 이제 7,079번 한 거를 가지고 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠군요. She did over 7,000 reps. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. An Australian woman has broken the world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, completing 7,079 reps and nearly doubling the previous record. Well, that's it for the headlines with Shane.